Saludos and salutations, Broncos Country, and welcome back into another exciting episode of Broncos Talk. Ladies and gentlemen, Libre and I are so excited for you to join us today for our conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about the Broncos, offense or defense. We are going to break it down and give you guys a better idea of which part of the football team is going to be better. Is it going to be the offense that's going to carry the team this coming season, or is it going to be the defense that's going to it's already improved, we already know that, but is it going to be able to carry the load if the offense doesn't come up to par and carry us to another Super Bowl title, or could it be even? We will try our very best to balance the scales. Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that your food is warm, your beer is cold. You don't want to miss a single second of today's show, ladies and gentlemen. And with that being said, hey, actually, you know what? I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. Do you guys know what Johnny Baki's middle name is? His middle name... And welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adan Diaz, and joining me to my left or right, depending on which direction you're watching us, is my co-host, Bronco Libre. How you doing tonight?
What's happening? Let's go.
How was your 4th of July?
It was chill. Just stayed here at the house, cooked some barbecue, had a couple of drinks, just the normal Merca stuff.
Normal Merca stuff?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, folks. Just trying to go live here with Libre because now I am able to go live all by myself and no longer have to be held by the hand, by Libre. So, I mean, it was nice. I do appreciate you carrying me, Libre, all those months.
All those shows. Oh, there it is. There you are. Let's see.
Did it work?
Whoa, look at that. He's finally on. Let's go.
It is good to be out of TikTok jail.
It only took you a while.
It took me a while, yeah. It only took me, forever to get 50 followers?
And then all of a sudden, you got your 50th, and then it, went up to, I saw up to 58. I don't know where you're at right now, but...
I'm at 60. Shout out to everybody that's been watching me the last I've been live streaming the last 2 days on Minecraft. I had 7-8 followers yesterday. So shout out to you guys. Thanks for being awesome. And thanks for watching me blow stuff up. But ladies and gentlemen, I concur. Let us welcome you to today's episode of Broncos Talk. If this is your first time here, we are very happy to have you here for the very first time. Welcome. If not, welcome back. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, before we get into today's topic, we have to get a couple of things out of the way, just like we do before every single show here that you see all over the networks. First of all, Libre and I would like to ask you to please show your support for us here on the Orange and Blue Network. Please subscribe, share, comment, and like on any and all the shows you guys see here on the Orange and Blue Network, especially this one. If in case there's something that we did not get to, a comment, question, all that good stuff, make sure you leave it on there. And Libre and I will do our due diligence, I believe it's how it's said, to get to answer everything. Also, I'd like to ask you to please support our sister station, MHRT Network, which is where we are also live streaming. It's a simulcast. So we're live streaming on both networks at the same time. So please make sure you subscribe, share, comment, and like on their side of the network as well, on this show and all the shows that they have to ride. See, that's the beautiful thing about Broncos Country, ladies and gentlemen, is that content and variety are everywhere. And between these two networks, there is enough to go around the world 100 times over, I want to say. And we're constantly growing, which is a very beautiful thing. So please make sure you continue to show your support there as well. Also, for any business inquiries, you can email at broncostalk2020@gmail.com. For our audio listeners, wherever you're listening to us on any platform, please make sure you give us a 5-star review. Are always well appreciated. You can take a screenshot and send it to our socials, where we will be happy to give you guys a personal shout out. Our Twitter handles are right there at the bottom. Mine is at a 6'10" Mexican. Libre is at Bronco Libre 5280. Please feel free to send us a follow. Also, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to thank the sponsor of today's show, which is Dubby. If you guys haven't heard about Dubby, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, you guys are missing out. As you can see on your screen, Dubby comes in a lot of delicious flavors, and basically it is meant to give you that energy boost that you need. It is the good stuff without all of the bad stuff. So what do I mean by that specifically? Basically, it was formulated to give you focus and energy with no jitters or crash. Their formula contains vitamins, amino acids, and nootropics, including the Pandin Neurofactor formula. Basically, it's no calories, no sugar, no maltodextrin, no fillers, and no artificial colors. And to show you guys just how awesome we are here at the MHRT and Orange and Blue Networks, especially the flagship show, Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue, which you can catch every single Tuesday, would like to give you guys 10% off on your very first order when you guys go to checkout. Again, that's 10% off when you use the code NRWOB10 for your 10% off at checkout. Shout out to Johnny and the guys over at the Nothing Rhymes With for the hookup, and of course for Dubby for continuing to be a supporter of all the shows here on the Orange and Blue Networks. Again, that code is NRWOB10 to get your 10% off at checkout. Also, ladies and gentlemen, in case you have not heard, we have our show schedule for the year. So make sure you hit that live notification button so you get live instant notifications whenever any of the shows that we are going to tell you right now go live. So basically, it's Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. for the Bronco Bros. It's the Blitz, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Broncos Bros comes on every Monday at 7 p.m. The Nothing Rhymes With flagship show is every Tuesday at 7. Broncos Talk, the one you're watching right now, comes on every Wednesday at 6. Viva Los Broncos, which after a 2-week hiatus is finally coming back every single Friday at 6 p.m. For any breaking news that happens in Broncos country, the fresh squeeze will hit the airwaves. And before every single game day, before every game, we have the pregame show, which is the Get Bucked pregame show, 1 hour before kickoff. And then the postgame show, regardless of how it ends, is the Buck Your Feelings postgame show, which is every game day right after the game ends. Oh, and shout out to our TikTok audience as well. Thank you guys so much for being here. I might be talking to myself for a while because I don't think any of my followers are Broncos fans. But like I said, even if nobody's watching, it makes for great practice for when they one day do. I can't hear you, Libre. I still can't hear you. You see what happens? We go on vacation, and well, technically we were on the air last week, but I heard a click. I still can't hear you. While Libre figures it out, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into Broncos Talk. The topic for today's show is
how's this?
Oh, hear you loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. That's strange. For some reason my mic went out. I don't know why. But previously, when we were live on TikTok, and we had the duel, we couldn't see, I think, each other's comments, right? Was that the kind of thing that was happening? Because I know when I had you on and you were just that little square on the bottom, you saw all the comments and so forth. I'm wondering if that's still going to be the same as well. Like if you could see comments as well on the TikTok. Do you see anybody liking it up the on the live right now, or is it just me?
I can see on the top left corner where my mug is.
And how many likes do you show there?
137.
Okay, so I have 1.6K. So right now,
Yeah.
So it looks like it's just our individual,
Yeah.
our own individual lives, like how it was before. Okay, I was just wondering that because it's kind of strange as to why they would do that and not like merge it together so that both of us could see it. But either way,
yeah.
if
Shout out
anybody
to
has
Sierra.
comments here,
Thank you so much for the likes.
exactly. I have Sierra on here as well that I saw, and then I have my friend Sandy who's on here as well. Who she's a Packers fan, unfortunately, but that's her. That I know that you're in the land of Chicago, the Bears, but she's a Packers fan. She just said, "Go Pack, go."
Los Osos.
Oh, because it looks like it's showing like there's an echo. She's saying that there was an echo on our live on TikTok.
I have my volume turned down.
I'm wondering if, yeah, that's kind of strange.
Yeah, so I can't hear anything through the TikTok side because I have my my volume down. So.
Oh, she says it's just me echoing.
Oh.
Let me.
Probably because you got two mics. But ladies and gentlemen,
how's that? Is that echoing?
I don't hear you echoing through because I got you coming through my computer speakers, but through the TikTok app, I can't hear you.
Okay.
Because if I do, then it's gonna feedback, and
a bunch of. All right. Well, I'll figure it out.
So, ladies and gentlemen, getting into the topic of today's show, basically the offense or the defense. We want to try to figure out which, if there's going to be one of these sides that is going to carry this team into another possible Super Bowl title. Is it going to be the offense, which we are hoping for a big rebound? Is it going to be the defense, or is it going to be the defense, which we've already seen how much it's improved and what it's going to do and how important it is for them to come in, because they are really going to have to put on a show for them to go out there, because they will not be the Broncos, I'm saying, will not be the only team that's going to try or vie for a really strong shot at a Super Bowl title. So I think, Libre, that our offense is going to have the upper hand in terms of, not to take anything away from the defense, but for me, the defense did a fantastic job last year, and there were games, and then the year before that too, and the year before that, because even when during our worst season with Russell Wilson at quarterback, Libre, the Broncos defense was still keeping the team within the game. So only like very rare did they get blown out, whether it was at home or on the road, where the game was totally out of loss. But the defense has done their job, and they're going to continue to do it. And I have no doubt that they are going to go out and put on a hell of a show. But for me, Sean Payton going into his third year, going into his second year with Bo Nix at the helm, we're not doing this whole quarterback controversy thing at training camp. There's gonna be none of that, which is something that has plagued the Broncos for a very long time during this quarterback carousel, I guess you could say, of quarterbacks that have tried to come in. Your Drew Locks, your Bridgewaters, your Joe Flacco's, your Paxton Lynch's, Trevor Siemian. I know. I'm sorry, Lindsay. He showed flashes of promise, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. But I'm very optimistic that Bo is going to come in Libre, and we talked about this last week when we did an entire episode about Bo Nix. So, I can't say that honestly say that it's going to be like a big difference between night and day, but I really do think that the offense going into this coming year is really going to turn some heads around in the league.
I agree with you 100% with that assessment there. Not only has this offense already added players, jokers, these needs that we needed to have Bo Nix excel within this offense itself. I think with this offense has taken like 5 steps above anybody else's expectation. And I still hear the narrative that, the Broncos are still not that good. These guys are still improving. You still need that camaraderie, the unity that they need in order to be gelling within this offense. But you can already see that these guys are unselfish. They're ready to go. They know what Sean Payton has been doing these last couple of years and what they saw last year with Evan Ingram. I follow his wife on TikTok and so forth. The way that how excited they are to be here in Denver, that just, showing that excitement already itself, just seeing that the player's family is all on board as well, gets me excited. It's like, oh my God, I can't wait for this to happen. And then just adding the additional, like with Harvey itself to our offense, which we needed. I just saw a video with Estime working out, and he looks good. I just hope that translates from his off-season workouts, comes into this season, and actually we're going to have that 1-2 punch that I've been talking about. But some of these guys that are coming in are what we needed and what we were lacking last year. And now that Sean Payton has done this and put these guys together, this team is going to be very scary, and we're going to be putting the league on notice. And it's going to happen when we play the Titans. Yes, they're not that great as a defensive unit itself, but it's going to be noticed on week 1, because I don't think they're going to let up and ease up and say, no, we have a comfortable lead. I think that's going to be full metal, go on, let's get as many points. Let's challenge the 2013 scoring team that the Denver Broncos had when they scored 606 points that year.
Yeah, now I do think that Vance Joseph is going to have his work cut out for him, Libre, just for the simple fact that he has pitched a really good game, a couple of games. However, there have been times where even me and you, when we're watching the games, especially last year, where we criticized, we talked about this before, how he has his cornerback sometimes lined up like 5 yards away from the people that they're supposed to guard and protect against. So I do think that Vance Joseph is going to have to come in with a different set of eyes and play things a little bit differently, not completely drastically. I'm not talking about, overhauling the entire defense per se, but if this is really in a hypothetical competition, I guess you could say, then Vance Joseph is really going to have to, really put on a good show. And for me, I think that he has the benefit of the doubt, because I keep getting the feeling, Libre, that regardless of what happens this coming season with the Broncos, Vance Joseph is going to get even more calls at the end of the season for him to go be a head coach somewhere else. It'll be up to him to see if he wants to go and take those offers, even if he's just entertaining them. But he's already had a taste of what being a head coach is for. Ironically, for the team he's coaching the defense for, which sounds weird in a way. So it'll be up to him to see if he wants to take a second chance at it with a different team, with a whole different roster, or maybe it's something where he just kind of figures out that, it's a nice gesture. He feels, I'm pretty sure, humbled that a team wants to give him the opportunity to run it. But maybe he realized that head coaching wasn't for him when he was with the Denver Broncos, and maybe he just wants to take it easy being a defensive coordinator, and it shows. Just look at the example I keep giving everybody this year. Look at Vic Fangio, what he did with the Eagles. in one season, he turned that defense around and made it into a freaking powerhouse. So if he can do that for a team like them, I have all the confidence in the world that Vance Joseph can do it with the Broncos defense, and they're gonna need him, Libre. They're definitely gonna need him because there's gonna be a lot of tough challenges on the road. The Broncos do play the world champion Eagles this year, so that's gonna be a tough matchup. And of course, when they get into the playoffs, obviously you're playing the best of the best, and we have to be able to say that we're not just a wild card, flash in the pan type of team, and we didn't just get in because of a technicality like some teams do every year.
I agree with you. I think with VJ himself, he had the taste of being a head coach. Is that something that he wants to do again? Does he have that desire to take over another team? Like, yes, he was the defensive coordinator here. We promoted him to the head coach at that time. It's so much different from just being just specific just to the defensive side, like what he is, his specialty is. Now you're managing the whole team. Like, that's a whole different control there. Is that something that he's going to want to do? That's only for him to say that for this upcoming year. After this year, it's over and done with. Because I can guarantee that how you're saying, yes, he's going to go out and he's going to entertain the aspects of it, go talk to these other teams. But he has to go to a team. If he's going to do that, he has to take it where, is this team going to be the fit for what I want to do? Are they going to give me that type of control that I want? That's something that it's all like that's part of the factors that are going into that. If that's what he wants, by all means, like let him go. Like, I'll say, you know what, we're going to miss you because of what you've done here with this defense. But just know that I feel like there's just some coaches that are just better at the positional side itself, like the defensive coordinator, as opposed to being the head coach. We've seen this multiple times. We'll just call it out. McDummy, he did it here in Denver. He went to Vegas and tried doing it like 10 years later. Still didn't do anything for him. He's just a better offensive coordinator. But again, when I think about that as well with him, was he just happened to be in the right spot in the right time because of who he had, and he really didn't have to do anything for that itself. And he's like, all right, well, I'm just here. I have a good football mind, but I have players that are around me that are great players that are just taking over. And I just sit back, really do nothing. And we just talk about certain plays and that's it. And I feel like that's what McDaniels did, is he would just happen to be in the right spot at the right time for everything to come through for him. And then when it was time for him to be solo, have the head job, he couldn't last. And both times he couldn't finish 1 year. And what does that say about you? You're not ready for it. Even 10 years apart, thinking that you're ready, and you're not. He's just better an offensive coordinator. But what is he really doing right now? Is he still the offensive coordinator there with the Patriots? I don't even know because I don't keep track of him or whatever. But with that, if VJ is wanting to do that, I just feel like with him, the way that he operates, I feel that he's a better defensive coordinator than he will ever be a head coach. But if he wants to reevaluate and see if he wants to do that again, by all means, I say go for it. But you will be missed here in Denver. Even when we let him go after him being the head coach here, he went down to Arizona and be the Arizona's defensive coordinator. And those 4 years that he was there, that defense was really good. And I'm just glad that we were able to get him back. And look what he's been able to do here the last several years that he's been here. Like, we're still one of the best defenses in the league. And I'm like, we've said it before. On paper, right now, we're number one. That's because part of what he has built in place here. So continue to do that. Let's keep VJ here. Be that defensive coordinator. Let's just ride this out as long for your rest of your career as a defensive coordinator in the Broncos, and we got this.
Yeah, I do agree. Those are some very good points, man. I got to tell you. But going back to why I think the offense is just kind of, again, there's just something magical going on in Broncos country. And for anybody outside of said Broncos country, they're in for a hell of a surprise. They're definitely gonna be. And it's a miracle, Libre, where we are at this point compared to where we were last year. Again, we've talked about it previously, how everybody was looking down on Denver a year ago today. they're already talking about they're going to be the worst team in the division. They're going to be in the race for the number one pick. That drafting Bo Nix was a stretch, and he was the lesser of the quarterbacks that went before him. We heard it all.
Mm-hmm.
And Bo Nix went out there, and yes, he looked shaky his first 3 games, I guess you could say, just like any rookie quarterback out there, with probably the exception of Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels was the only one that excelled from the go. So, kudos to him. Washington got a really good one out there, and I am really looking forward to the next showdown between Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels. But again, I just have this feeling that Sean Payton's got something up his sleeve that even we in Broncos country are now waiting for, Libre. So you mentioned training camp is about to start while we were backstage earlier.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that the show that the offense is going to put out is really, really going to be something. The only thing that I believe is still missing from this offense that would really knock it out of the park, per se, is if the Broncos do, hypothetically speaking, let's say they go 4-0 and they head into the month of October undefeated, that they would try to go and get like a number one wide receiver, so to speak, because by October, Libre, there are going to be teams that already have the writing on the wall where it's like, okay, the staff we got isn't working, or this team combination isn't working, so they're going to become sellers. And the Broncos have to be buyers if they want to contend. So nothing against Cortland, nothing against Sims. We still haven't seen what we have in Pat Bryant. And, of course, we have Troy Franklin also on the wing. So unless one of those guys can excel and be that possible future number one, then hell, the Broncos can trade for whatever missing pieces they may need if they need to fill in a key piece in injury, per se, or on the offensive line if there's an upgrade. Whatever needs to be done to help keep this offense continue running on all cylinders, I'm all for it. But I just have to believe, Libre, that Sean Payton and George Payton, both of those guys, have really done an excellent job with the drafting, with just turning this team around from what a joke it looked like we were a couple seasons ago when we were 5-12.
I agree with that 100%. And like I mentioned before, and Sean Payton's playbook was not all the way given to Bo Nix. He had the first 5 pages of his playbook. He's opened that playbook to maybe the first 10 pages now, or even 15. I don't think he's given him everything he has on this playbook itself. And if just seeing what we have seen from OTAs, like I said last week, with Bo Nix already understanding the plays, already helping out the wide receivers, telling them what route they're going to be running, which way to go, what cuts they need to do. And you saw the videos that the media has posted out there. Go and look it up. Just look at OTA, Bo Nix OTAs. You see him. He's that player coach that's going to be on the field. He's going to be coaching out there while he's that player that's out there on the field. And that's what you want to see in your quarterback, the leadership that he already has. And because of that, the league is not ready for the Denver Broncos. I know everyone already is trying to write us off. They're not ready for what these Broncos are going to be able to do, because Bo Nix, again, like I mentioned, you could only see it last year. Like, he started off weak and all that for last year, but guess what? He continued to get better and better each week throughout the season. And you just saw it, his confidence. And you're still seeing his confidence still building, especially during these OTAs. So I'm going to be at the open camp, the first one that's open to the public on the 25th. I'm going to be there. So I'm excited to see what Bo Nix has to offer. And I know they're going to put a show on for the fans that are there, because that's what they normally do. And I'm just ready for that. The 25th can't get here soon enough. Like we're just talking about, yes, next week, a week from today, rookies report to camp. And then the following Tuesday, that's when the veterans report. We're just around the corner. We're excited for the season. I'm ready for it. It's a long time waiting. This is the only sport that has the longest off season, and just too long. It hurts when your season's done. They're at the beginning of February, and then you have to wait all the way until August for anything to happen with games wise. At the end of July when training camp opens and so forth. So it's a long wait. All these other sports, they're back at it after 3-4 months and so forth. We're waiting 5, 6, 7 months.
Messes is how you say months.
Messes. Not messes, but messes.
I cannot wait to I gotta say, Libre, the one thing that I hate about training camp is the fact that all the good stuff, all the sessions and the conferences and the live streams, all of that stuff goes down while I'm at work. So I can't catch any of it. And by the time I get off of work and I watch it after the fact, I've already seen the highlights or the pinpoints from others on social media. And it kind of takes away from, it's like, man, I wanted to see it, happen. So when the Broncos do win a Super Bowl, I can say, hey, I saw when this came out and I predicted, and like all the other people do. So I am envious that you get to not only go to training camp, but I don't know, do they do like press conferences there on the field or interviews or anything like that?
They do, but it's away from the crowd. It's more towards the building on the opposite side of where the fans are actually at, where they hold all the media coverage and all that. So it's harder for the actual fans to see that unless you have like a badge credential so that you're able to get over there. It's very rare that they give those to any of the fans during camp, unless the Broncos specifically invited an individual to give them that type of access. But say like even this year, because they're doing a lot of constructions and they're redoing the training facility right now. Mm-hmm. This year they capped it out at 800 fans per training camp session per day. And then I was able to get 2 days, and they limited to us to 2 days only. And then you can get 4 tickets per day. Like say if you want to do 2 tickets one day, 2 tickets another day, that's it. You're capped out at 2. So I ended up getting 4 tickets for two of the camps. So it's really the first one that opens up, which is the 25th, which is on a Friday. Mm-hmm. And then the very last one that's open to the public, which is a joint practice with the Arizona Cardinals. So I did that as because it's actually fun to watch it, because now you're able to see that these guys are actually playing against other people, because at that point they're just sick of each other and all right, I'm just sick of all your little tactics here and there. I want to hit somebody else. And it really is, because there's been times where we've been to camp and you see the guys are fighting, because it's you're just seeing these guys over and over and over. Just want to see another body across from you so that you can hit them. And even with these joint practices, they get heated real quick. If you go out and look on YouTube or whatever and just do joint practice preseason, like all these different fights that break out between teams and so forth. Even I think a couple of years ago, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, that Hard Knocks had that as well. And you saw that these guys were just going at it. A wide receiver in a corner, I can't remember offhand who it was, but they were going at it, and they were going to fight and everything. They get to a certain point where they're going to try to scuffle or try to man up or whatever. But it's just exciting to see that, because now you have somebody else out there against you, and now you're just fighting and playing.
Well, I mean, I can understand that, because it can come from a variety of different things. But it's kind of crazy. And I think every single year we go through the same thing, the same premise of where we hear different scrimmages happening at all over the country, from the Cowboys to the Giants to the Bears, the Niners, the Seahawks. All these teams are usually up and ready for some type of scrimmage. And for me, hey, I'm all for it, because something's going to happen where somebody does something that's going to rub you the wrong way, whether it's you hold them or you tackle them better. But at the same time, they have to learn how to deal with that type of adversity, because I know that, for one, it's gonna all that stuff it's gonna happen in the real thing, Libre. And it's from an opposing player. Opposing players are gonna do their best to get on your nerves, and to make you jump and get flagged and all that stuff. So this is the thing you got to practice for. Now, there's a lot of players that are hotheads. They have short tempers, and it doesn't take long for them to lose their cool. But that's where coaching comes in, Libre, because when stuff like that happens, the coach has to put a stop to it. Not a hat, a stop to it, and say, hey, cut that stuff out. We're not going to do that right now. This is not the time to start losing your cool, because you need to start working like a team and playing like a team. And when you have those type of scrimmages, it complicates things, Libre. It makes everything a whole lot harder than it needs to be, and it's just unnecessary. So I really do hope that we don't see none of that, or if we do, that it's very limited, and it's not something where players start swinging at each other with helmets and fists or whatever it is that they can get their hands on. Because if this is going to work, everybody needs to be on the same page, from the offense to the offensive line to the defense, and the defensive line to the coaching staff, all the way around. It's one giant circle, Libre. And for this team to make it work and to be able to hoist the championship in February next year, they have to learn to work as a team. And it starts in August from training camp, and then it just goes all the way down the line.
No, I agree with you. And I'm just excited that we now have football finally back. I know we talked about the UFL. The UFL is, it's not all the way there. It's still in the first coming years of it, coming back from being the USFL, the XFL, and all that. It's just not the same. Even though they do have some star-studded coaches that are there, like Wade Phillips is down there, Hines Ward is down there. It's just like they're coaches now. They're no longer players and so forth. So it's hard to watch just because it's not the level of competition that the NFL does have. But what's also nice is that it can produce some of these guys that get a second chance of getting back into the league, which is super fun to watch. But ultimately, we're almost there. We're a week away where we're actually watching NFL football. Training camp is starting. We're talking about the rookies getting in there earlier so that they can start getting that preparation prior to the veterans being there. And then it's nonstop between now until February, till the Denver Broncos will be hosting up that trophy.
But I mean, Libre, now that you mention it, it is like a week ago. We have the Hall of Fame game July 31st. So, and again, like we talked about last week, when you just hear those clash of the pads and the helmets, it's like a huge relief, because it's like, that Sunday Night Football is almost here.
Right.
And to me, I'm telling you, there is nothing more satisfying than just hearing those sounds again. And I am kind of envious that those teams get an early, preseason game before everybody else. But that's just how it is now. It sucks. And now I'm always vouching or hoping that the Broncos are the ones that are going to get to play in the Hall of Fame game, so they get that extra rep in for the rookies. Because 3 weeks, at first I was okay with it, but now it's kind of like it really puts the management on a timetable, because you have like that just like that one weird, I guess you can call it, off week where nothing happens in terms of NFL games. It's just more like behind the scenes stuff with management and roster cuts and all that good stuff. So the fact that that Sean Payton and his staff have to kind of micromanage everything and try to cut down and see if there's any, diamonds in the rough, I guess you could say, that were let go from other teams, and hope you can find a spot for them, either whether it's practice squad or just kind of like to fill out whatever little, if there's a spot left in the 53s. Oh man, it's just like, I envy Sean Payton, but I am also really glad at the job that he's done in terms of trying to turn this team around. Were you trying to say something, Libre? Because I didn't hear you. It may have cut off on you again. Oh man. It is not your day for audio.
How about now?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. That's so weird. Okay. What I was going to say is, like, some of these games are important because I don't know how many people remember this. Terrell Davis was a late rounder, and he only made his statement because of one single play in Japan when they were playing in a preseason game. And he made that one huge hit, and that's what made him basically make the team. And then if he didn't do that during a preseason, like, would he even be the star that he was? We would have these back-to-back Super Bowls? Because Super Bowl 32 was really because of him. Like, he's the one that really carried the team and got us to that level itself. Would that even happen for the Broncos? You know, that's why some of these games are important. They can't get rid of them all altogether. I just remember back in the day when they used to have 5-6 preseason games prior to the season starting. Now that it's just broken down to the 3, I can't see them breaking it really down. I think we did talk about this earlier as well, that they were talking about taking away another preseason game and adding it to the regular season. But if they do that, like, you have to have at least those 2 games. I think that's why they also, because previously when they did those, when they had the 4 weeks, 5 weeks, or whatever, after every week, they used to cut players and say, all right, we started off with the 90 players here. Then they cut down 5 to 7 players after that first week. And then they kept on cutting down. Now they don't do that anymore. They keep the whole roster, whoever's on the current team, up until the last preseason game before the first game of the season. And when they need to finalize their roster, they keep everyone. And then that's when that's what they do now, just because of the number of games that are happening now. But yeah, again, like I was, what I'm going back to, if we don't have these preseason games to help these guys to help make a team, because what a lot of these kids are doing is right now are putting film together for other teams to pick them up, either if it is a practice squad, whatever the case may be, but they can do something special.
Mm-hmm. Your mic cut off again, Libre. While Bronco Libre figures that out, let's say hi to Jay Weaver, who has a comment for us. He says, fellas, I hope you're all having a great day.
Weaver.
Jay Weaver, my high salute to you, my friend. Thank you so much.
Am I back?
Support. Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Yeah. What I was just to finish off real quick is TD would never have been on the team if that would have happened. He would have probably been cut, just because he was like a 7th rounder pick.
Jay Weaver also has a question for us, Libre. He says, do you guys think we will split with Kansas City, or will it be a sweep? Well, we actually talked about this a couple episodes ago, Jay. But just to reiterate our point from then, I don't know if Bronco really remembers his point, but I said that the Broncos are definitely going to sweep the Kansas City Chiefs. And the one thing, I saw a picture today, I think it's today, either today or yesterday. It was a picture of Patrick Mahomes on vacation, and I swear to you, I think it was just a slow news media day. But I don't know who it was that published it, but they made a comment, basically making fun of the fact that Patrick Mahomes isn't in football shape. He's rocking the dad bod, and he's a dad, so I can understand it. But I've seen that movie before, and to me, the amount of money that man makes and the pressure that the Chiefs themselves put on him, I wouldn't buy into that. It's nothing where maybe like a week or so, he goes back to his workout regimen and his diet and all that stuff and what the trainers do, and then he'll be back to Patrick Mahomes shape by week 1. So I wouldn't buy too much into that. I didn't see anything where it was like, he gain 100 pounds per se. But just because you don't see abs on a player does not mean that it's the end of the world. But either way, with that being said, I think that the Chiefs are just that they're hurt in terms of their ego. They went into that Super Bowl and they thought that they were going to win it all. They had no doubt, and they just got humbled big time. So it is going to be a while for them to kind of get back on track if they even can. And before I pass it over to Libre, my last point is that all the luck that got them to the Super Bowl, yeah, that's not happening next year. No way.
Jay, I would love to say that we're going to sweep them. My only thing is that Christmas Day game. That is going to be the hard one because it's going to be a short week. We're traveling to Kansas City for that game. I feel like we'll go ahead and take care of them here at home. It's going to be a lot closer. It's going to be a tough game. I think when we're doing our predictions, I did say that was a loss for us just because it is a short week. Kansas City is a hard venue to go play at, especially it's late in December. But I feel that this team is different. I feel that Sean Payton is going to have these guys mentally prepared for this. And again, it's not going to be another late season addition to a Thursday night game, how we were with the Chargers last year. But with this team, I think we have the formula to go out there and beat these guys twice. We almost had that first game last year there in KC. And again, they can say whatever they want to say about week 18, about playing their backups, now having and we still shut them out. You're still an NFL team. I don't care what you say.
I wholeheartedly agree. And shout out to our TikTok audience, Late Night Dad Kennedy, Sierra, and Jason's Animator. Thank you guys so much for joining. I don't know if my counter's correct, but it's saying that there's nobody in my lobby. So
that's same with mine too. So it must be broken today.
I think it's either broken or the few people I have are obviously not Broncos fans, but it doesn't matter.
They're trying to see Minecraft.
I think I think my audience is more on Minecraft. But going back to the title of the show, Jay, which is basically, I just think that Bo Nix and Sean Payton are going to cook up a really good year, and they're going to be the reason why the Broncos sweep the Chiefs. And to be honest with you guys, I still think that the biggest opponent for the Broncos to beat is the Chargers. Okay, I don't think that the Raiders are going to be an issue. I don't see the Chiefs being an issue either. If the Chiefs do happen to be, a problem, it's more than likely a split. That's the way I see it. And that's only if it's the other way around, where let's say Denver wins the division and they have to sit their players week 18, and Mahomes and company are trying to get a wild card spot type of thing. So, and don't be surprised if that happens either, because I can honestly see that happening. But I think that the Chargers are going to be a much tougher opponent, and they are going to be one of the really hard tests for the Broncos, aside from the Eagles. And I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. There's like one or two other teams, tough teams, that the Broncos are going to have to play this season, and it's going to say a lot whether this team has the detriment and to show that they've actually improved and learned from their mistakes from last year, and really going to put their foot down and say, hey, we are playoff contenders. Hell, we're Super Bowl contenders at that too. So there's a lot of factors that are going to go into where the world sees the Broncos in 2025.
Just going off with the Chargers, that's the NFL sees the same thing as well. That's why they have us week 18, the last game of the year, versus the Chargers. And the game is going to be here in Denver. So I don't know if that's just how it got scheduled or just by coincidence. But I do feel like that game itself it's not going to be like how last year when KC had already got the playoffs, they were already in, and they wanted to got that number one spot and wanted to rest their players. I think this year is going to be a lot closer, especially between us and the Chargers. And that week is going to be hard nosed, and it could be potentially who wins the division. Whoever wins that game is going to win the division, and possibly having the number one spot and having that first week bye in the playoffs. But I agree with you. Like the NFL does see something within these Broncos that the national media otherwise see. Because look at how many primetime games. Because once you're relevant, once the NFL has you relevant, you get a lot of primetime games. And the Broncos have a lot of primetime games this year. That says a lot about what the NFL thinks of the Broncos. They see that we're back, we're relevant again with Bo Nix, and I'm just the excitement that we have. I know with Bronco fans, Bronco Country itself, just that we're being able to see this team at an elite level again for so many years that we weren't there. And Sean Payton is going to be that guy that's going to do that for us. He's already done it. He's just going to continue to do that for us.
I mean, and again, not to take anything away from the defense, as we talked about at the start of the show, I do think that honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm wrong. It could be a balance of both. It could be, the offense doing their part and the defense doing their part and winning the games that they're supposed to win and beating the teams that they're supposed to beat. So, and it's really hard. To be honest with you guys, there's really no right answer. It doesn't matter which side you pick or if it's balanced, because when you look at all the things that the Broncos have done in the offseason, bringing in Drake Greenlaw and Hufanga and Evan Ingram on the offense, and that's not even counting with the NFL draft, with Harvey and Barron, thank you. It's just like there's just so much that's going to happen in Broncos country, and it's a lot that's really to be excited for. Now, honestly, I do think that they might start off a little bit kind of cold and maybe a little bit rusty week one, just for the simple fact that these are players that have never played together yet, or that have never even this is going to be their first official NFL game. So that first game might be a little bit messy, but I don't think it's going to be anything where it's going to be like what we saw in week one last year. I really do feel bad for Cam Ward and the Titans, but they're literally going to be fed to the wolves because the Broncos are not going to take prisoners. And week one at home, it's more likely going to be a primetime game. So Libre, this is probably going to be one of the few times I say I wish I was you.
So funny thing that you say with Cam Ward and so forth. This is just funny. Over this last week, there's a Titans fan that has been, all of his videos have been talking about Broncos and Titans week one. And his only excuse or his only reasoning, it's like, oh, the Broncos are not going to win because of Cam Ward. Cam Ward is going to be out there. They haven't faced nobody like Cam Ward. There's Cam Ward this, Cam Ward that. The thing is, it's like Cam Ward has not faced a defense that the Broncos currently have right now. He's never done it in college. He's never done it that way. But he's going to be a rude awakening. He goes, I'm here. I'm talking about this. Broncos are not going to win. They're going to do this. But if it's so funny, he has over 10, 20 videos of just the subject alone. He's gone on lives, and it just happens to be where I don't follow the guy. It just happens to come up on my For You page just because the way he has it titled, I think, because it says Titans, Broncos, and so forth. Mm-hmm. And it always just comes up on my feed because I always do the search with Broncos or whatever like that. So that's where that comes up on my For You page. But it's just funny because he even went on to a live where a live came on, and he was just talking about it. He goes, where are my Bronco fans at now? Or, they're not going to be around. Of course, he doesn't say Broncos. He says donkeys. He says, it's always the donkeys. But it's just so funny. It's like But his only rebuttal to anything that we kind of say is, "Oh, they haven't faced Cam Ward. Nobody's. Cam Ward is going to do this. He's going to do that. He's already saying predicting like Cam Ward's going to be MVP, Rookie of the Year, doing all this." I'm like, I like where you're I like where you're going at. I like your confidence on what your team thinks that they can do. But again, they were the number one pick for a reason last year. They're not the Commanders. The Commanders did something unbelievable last year. I don't think the Titans have the ability or the coaching staff or the players to get that done like what the Commanders were able to do. But it's just funny that Cam Ward is, he probably a good quarterback. Does that translate to the NFL? But again, he's facing the number one defense currently in the league right now. And if you go out there, a lot of the people are on social media out there are already calling the Broncos the best defense out there as well. We've said it here on the network. We will continue to say it until it's proven otherwise. But week one is not going to be any difference. And I feel like we may shut them out.
Yeah, I mean, the only advantage, I think that maybe not even advantage, I guess the only plus for the Titans is the fact that Brian Callahan knows the Broncos offense. Because we got to remember, he was the one that was here when Peyton Manning was here.
But that was 10 years ago.
I know.
It's a whole different offense. So it's not even, you can't even compare it anymore.
Hey, I'm trying to be fair, man.
Hey, you don't have that Titans fan, okay?
But I mean, from what you're telling me, I haven't seen that guy's videos, but from what you're telling me, he's expecting Cam Ward to go out there and be what Jaden Daniels was last year.
Exactly.
So
if I happen to find one, I'll send it over to you.
And that's rare. I'm not trying to say Cam Ward is going to be bad. I'm not saying he's going to be good either. I'm just saying that it really sucks that his first matchup is going to be against the Broncos defense. And not just if it was like last year's defense, I'd say, he has a legitimate shot. But I mean, you're going up against the best defensive player of 2024 and Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw, who's going to come and hit like a Mack truck if Cam Ward even decides to scramble and, become a runner. Oh, man, it is not going to be a good day for Tennessee. I guess the only good thing for them is that I already envision a blowout, and at least it's not going to be in Tennessee. It's going to be in Denver, and it's really going to be great because that 1-0 victory is going to feel great because I am going to the game week 2 in Indianapolis. So and that's going to be another great game. I don't even know who the hell is going to be the starter for Indy. Isn't it Daniel Jones?
Well, depending on Anthony Richards, is he going to be healthy? Like, is it going to be? Is that really a QB competition there? Is Danny Dimes? Is he there to try to take the number one spot? Like, that's another thing that we need to look into a little bit more because I have, of course, I don't pay attention to a lot of the other teams and what their QB situation is, but Anthony Richards is there. They brought in maybe Jones in there for that backup role, but is it a true QB competition or is that his role that he's there? Like, and again, they drafted AR for a reason, so and he's still there. If they didn't have that confidence in him, just because he's hurt, they needed a reliable backup, and Danny Dimes is that backup right there. So week 2, depending if he's healthy or not.
Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, we are going to get an early start into our favorite segment. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the end of regulation, which means that Libre and I are ready to go into some overtime. Now, folks, if this is your first time watching this segment, this is basically where Libre and I let our hair down in terms of, not literally, of course, but we just kind of just shoot the breeze in terms of talking whatever's on our minds. It's not more likely not going to be Bronco related, but if there's a way we can find a way to bring it back, we will before we get to the end of the show. So, Libre, if there's anything on your mind you want to get off your chest or whatever you want to say. The floor is yours.
Just say it with your chest right now. No, I just hope that everyone had a great 4th of July weekend. Everything was safe. Your family's doing good. I don't really have. I'm just like right now we're just a week away from football season. That's really what's on my mind. I know with the going back, let's go with the Nuggets real quick with some of the stuff that they've done over the off season. They've done some great trades and all that. They went and traded for I think it was what his name, Giannis, from Sacramento, who actually when we did play them, he played Joker very well. Controversy with him is talking about him going to Greece and playing in Europe and all that, and not joining the Nuggets on the trade. The Nuggets said, you know what, we're still going to go with the trade. We're going to go with it. Have fun. If you're going to opt out, we're going to save $10 million, whatever. It just actually came out today that he says that he went out to Europe. He went and took a physical, did all that for a team in Greece. But it looks like he's opted out to do that and actually to join the Nuggets. So a part of the local media here in Denver saying that he's been in communication with the management team, general manager. The Nuggets don't even have a general manager yet, but it was Stan Kroenke or Josh Kroenke, and then Addison, who's the head coach right now. They've talked about it, so he says that he is going to come into Denver and actually play this upcoming year. He actually has 2 years left on his contract. I think that's part of why they did the trade. He's going to get about $10 million this year, and then it's a team option for the following year. But I don't know. I didn't hear what his salary would be for the team option, but we'll see what happens. At least we'll get him for 1 year. Joker really needs a backup center. That's what we've been lacking for the longest time. And I feel like with the moves that they have done, because they did trade away Michael Porter Jr., and because of that, it just saves us a lot of money. Because Porter Jr. had like $35 million on his contract, and we were able to trade it away. But what's funny is we traded him away. We got 4 different players that equaled almost the amount of what he was making. So it was like the perfect deal for the Nuggets itself. So, and that already put them in conversations with championship contentions. So I'm excited for that.
I can't honestly say much about my Bulls because I don't think that they made any big name free agency moves. There's just something about Jerry Reinsdorf that just still pisses people off here. For those that don't know, he owns the Bulls and the Chicago White Sox. So, and that guy's as cheap as they come. So a lot of us are still hoping that he sells the team, gives the control over to somebody that's actually going to invest and, put money and take the gamble to bring a championship back to Chicago, something that we haven't seen since 1998. And we're starting to feel like Cowboys fans around here, when we talk about trophies in that regard. So now I don't watch college basketball, so I have no idea what these draft picks that the Bulls got in the lottery are going to be. But if history has told us anything, it's like that the Bulls are not really good with that. I mean, Patrick Williams, that guy, they gave that guy money. And for what? He's freaking terrible. He hasn't done crap for the team since he got here. So, I don't know. But, now that I mentioned the White Sox, for those, there are any White Sox fans within the sound of my voice, we lost a good one. Bobby Jenks, unfortunately, passed away from complications of stomach cancer a couple days ago. And, it sucks. That 2005 series was great. I love seeing him close the game, especially that one, and help bring us the championship to Chicago. 2005. It really sucked when he left for the Red Sox, but unfortunately, he didn't do faring better over there. So I know the the couple White Sox fans that are left anyway are really feeling it. And prayers out to his family, and I hope they can find peace and comfort.
I know. I did see that story come out as well, and when I saw that, and he was young, like
He's only 43.
44. Yeah, 44, 40, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just turned 47, so I'm like, dang, that's crazy just to think about that. And you never know when your time is up, but prayers out to his family. Hopefully that they have peace in what he was able to do for the sport of baseball. And now to all the Chicago White Sox fans, talking about what the White Sox, what they did last year, about breaking the all-time loss record. The Rockies here are on pace to actually break that. Like when that was broken last year, a lot of us here were talking about it. It was like, man, that's a record. How long was that record in place? For the longest time? Like this record is going to be out there for a very, very long time. But then this season started, and the Colorado Rockies, they're starting it off great, where they might break that record, and it's going to only be 1 year before it's broken again. And we say the same thing.
Are they the worst team in baseball? Are they worse than us?
Yeah. They're so bad. Like they're terrible. Like, and we say the same thing as well with them as here in Denver, is that they just need to sell the team, because put product out there, because we want to see winning baseball. Like when we saw them go to the World Series and so forth, and we want to see that. But the problem is, like, they don't care about putting a good product on the field, because they have a great location here in downtown Denver. They have, it's a primo spot. Like there's so many bars around that stadium right there in lower downtown that it's just makes them money. Like they really don't have to do anything, and it just makes them money. A Saturday afternoon, or just a weekend or weekday night, just, we're already downtown. If people are working downtown, oh, we're already downtown, let's just go to the Rockies game, let's go and have a beer there and so forth. Like it's just a primo spot, and that's what the problem is that they're always in the black because of it, and it just sucks. In order for us to make a statement here in Denver, for them to say have any inkling to sell the team, is that we have to stop going to the games. And the problem is, because it's in lower downtown and where it's set up, there's not a chance for that to happening, because it's just something to do. Go out there, socialize, watch a game, have a couple beers, and it's already generating stuff for the Rockies.
Yeah, you guys are 21-71. That's freaking crazy, Libre. And we're sitting at 30. We have 10 more wins than you guys. Holy shnikes. Well, I don't know if I said this on the show before, Libre, but one of the things that's always stuck with me that Stephen A. once said, he said, the only good thing about rock bottom is that the only way left to go is up. Your mic cut off again. But the only other thing probably that I kind of want to talk about, Libre, is, I don't know if this is true, but I saw a video about because they're rebuilding the stadium here for the Bears, and there's this guy, I don't know why he shows up on my TikTok feed. I don't follow him, but probably because I've reacted to a couple of his videos when he's complained about the Bears in the past. But he said that supposedly the team sent out like a survey to all the season ticket holders in terms of what it is that they want to see in the new stadium, and I guess kind of get their input. And he showed a picture behind him on his green screen, and he says that the design plans for the new stadium are supposedly like a copy and paste of what Allegiant Stadium is in Las Vegas.
The toilet bowl?
Yeah. So he kind of I don't know if he was against it. I couldn't really tell from his video, but I don't think he gave his honest opinion because he probably didn't know if it was for true or not. But he did say something that along the lines of, that's how they're building stadiums now, that they have to be kind of like premier seating in terms of just putting as many seats as they can in the stadium and, put butts in them. But I really do hope that's not the case, because I already think Allegiant Stadium is ugly as hell. So if you build another one of those in Chicago, even if you slap Chicago Bears colors on it and it's not even its own design and it's just a copy and paste of another stadium, that's just lazy architecture.
I feel like that's just something somebody was just trying to get out there just to try to be funny. Because I think that every stadium is different. Look at SoFi, look at, the Raider Stadium, they're in Vegas. Like, that's going to be different. It's going to have its own unique flavor. Even when the Penner Group did take over, the Walton Penner Group took over for the Broncos. Our live on TikTok just ended somehow.
Oh, you probably didn't do the message thing.
I did.
Like, you did?
Yeah, I did it right when I was when my mic went off for some reason. But oh well.
Yeah.
Either way, that's okay. We're in overtime. But even when I was saying it was the Penner Group and so forth, when they first originally bought the stadium, the first thing they did to us, to all the season ticket holders, did send us out about a new stadium and all that, talking about how, like, what's your current travel with to the stadium? How far would you travel for the team? Do you want to see the team outside of the city? They had all these different questions. Do you want a dome? Do you want a retractable roof? Do you want it open air? Like, they gave us all these questions. It took like a good 15, 20 minutes just to fill out their survey, because they're trying to gain what the fans really wanted. Now that with the lease with the team ends in 5 years, which is in 2030. So now that's why all the talks about the new stadium, about all the land purchases and so forth that's happening right now, being quote unquote like stealth, where all these people that are selling this property, they have to sign NDAs. So they can't talk about who they sold it to. You can't do anything like that. So, but part of it as well is, like, I have it on my TikTok. We have it. I think we've talked about it here as well. It's not that far from the current stadium itself. I think what's happening is, like, because the stadium currently is owned by the city and county of Denver, the Broncos are leasing that. Like, they're paying the city to play right there. And that's happening. And that's been happening since the last, it'll be 30 years, 29 years that they've had this lease. And I feel like, and the thing to do now is the teams, these owners, what they want is to have their own stadium that they built, that they purchased, because at that point now they're able to make money off of it and so forth. So right now the stadium should be close by, hopefully, because nobody wants it outside of Denver, because that's going to be, we don't want to be the Lone Tree Broncos. We don't want to be the Aurora Broncos or whatever the case may be, because that's what it'd be, because they're going to be outside the city. Just like with the Cowboys, what the Cowboys did. They don't play in Dallas anymore. They're in Arlington. So when that happened, when we were there 4 years ago, and we went to that game out there, it's like, it took us, like, because we were like near downtown Dallas, but in order for us to get out to the stadium, it was like a 45-minute Uber drive, which was ridiculous. Like, it's not the Dallas Cowboys anymore, but that's Jerry's world though. But I feel like the Broncos were able to do what they're just leveraging that with the city and county of Denver to say, hey, we're going to get the stadium here. We're going to do that. But that's why we have these talks with Lone Tree. That's why we had these talks with Aurora. We might go out there, or we might be over closer to DIA, just so it's convenient for some of the teams to come in. But even if they went to Lone Tree, they have the Centennial Airport that's down there where the Broncos training facility is at. Like, it's going to be an easy commute for any teams coming into Denver itself to get to the stadium or whatever it might be. But having your own stadium is going to be beneficial to having teams out there. But talking about your story there, it had to be fake. If it's something like replica to Allegiant Stadium, like, yeah, it's a fake. It's not. These teams are going to have their own ways that they're going to want to have it set up. And yes, they probably did send an email out to season ticket holders on what do they want as well. I just hope that they don't put a roof over here in Denver. The only way that they would do that is to attract, of course, the Super Bowl, because that's going to be a requirement, especially being a cold weather city.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to attract the Final Four to bringing it here. If they want to take it away from, I can't remember if it's in San Antonio, I think they play it at, but just to attract that, to attract more concerts, to the stadium series that they do. But again, like even with that, any money that like with the stadium series itself, like any stadium that it happens to play in, especially with NFL stadiums, it's all revenue sharing. So if you have if they like, I was just a couple weeks ago, I was at the Metallica concert and so forth. So all that money that the Broncos made, they have to share part of that revenue with the league, with all the other teams, because there's some stadiums that can't hold stadium tours like that, or they're not desirable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it is, but if it isn't, and it's great. I mean, for me, it kind of does me a favor because Arlington Heights is a lot closer to my house than going all the way to Soldier Field is. But when I think about like all the traffic that's going to go out there, even something as a short commute might not be so short at all. So I'm really hoping that, there's like maybe a Metro alternative or maybe even a bus.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm really not trying to drive down there and pay, man, how much is it for parking at Soldier Field? I don't even know how much it is. It's got to be like $60-$70, I think.
Hey. Like when we were talking about the parking situation as well when you were here last year. Lot C, which is just the lot right south of the stadium, cash lot itself, you have to be part of the first 100-ish that don't have an actual parking pass for the lot, is $40 to get in there and park. And again, you're right there by the stadium. Yeah, after the game, sometimes it's harder to get out, but if you can learn just how to navigate through the side streets once you're out of the parking lot, you're golden. But sometimes you can be in there for a long time. You take the good with the bad, but it's cheaper, I think, because that's where we normally park when we do the tailgate. Again, that's where I will have our tailgates at, is in lot C10, right up against the hill. And please come in out if you're out here in Denver, and if you're going to be at any of the games, please hit me up. Let's talk. You're always invited. Broncos Country, you're invited.
Yes, sir. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for our segment of Overtime. We would like to thank our very special commentators in the chat, Jay Weaver, of course, and all of our friends on TikTok. We don't know what happened. We got disconnected. We do apologize. And for all of you guys watching us at home, we would just like to remind you before we head out of here to please show your support for us here on the Orange and Blue Network. Subscribe, share, comment, and like on this and all the shows we have here live for you guys on the network. There's content for days, years even, if you go back far enough. Also, our sister station, MHRT Network, where we're also live streaming. We ask you to subscribe, share, comment, and like on this and all of their shows as well. Shout out to our good friends over at W. If you use the code NRWOB10, you'll get 10% off discount at checkout. Thanks to Johnny and the guys over at the Nothing Rhymes With for the show, for the 10% hookup. And, of course, for W for being a continued sponsor on this and all the shows here on the Orange and Blue Network. Also, for our audio listeners, if you're listening to us after the fact, please give us 5-star reviews. They're very well appreciated. You can screenshot and send it to our socials there on the bottom. Our Twitter handles. Mine is at a 6'10" Mexican. Bronco Libre is at Bronco Libre 5280. For any business inquiries, you can email at broncostalk2020@gmail.com. Ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, Viva Los Broncos will be back on the air this coming Friday.
Vámonos.
7 o'clock Central, 6 Mountain Time. And just for those that don't know, it is an all Spanish podcast. We basically do what we just did today, but in Spanish. So please let your Spanish know your Spanish-speaking friends know to come tune in. Or if you want to have a translator nearby and you can hear this exact same conversation in a different language, you're more than welcome to. So, and we will see you all here next Wednesday. So with that being said, he's Bronco Libre. I'm Adan Diaz. This has been Broncos Talk on the Orange and Blue and MHRT networks. Oh, and before I forget, shout out to everybody over at Broncos World Order. I know I don't forget on purpose. I'm just old, and Bronco doesn't remind me, so blame him.
No, you pointed at the right way. See, you go that way.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, wherever it is you are. And as always, go Broncos!
Broncos, let's go!
Woo!